and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good afternoon. I'm Harry Hartley, President of the University of Connecticut. Please join me in expressing our thanks to the United States Coast Guard Band and its director, Commander Lewis J. Buckley. Welcome to the university on this wonderful day of dedication. The President brought us sunshine. It was raining out here until about 7 o'clock this morning, so we appreciate that, Mr. President. Today we establish for a definite use and purpose the Thomas J. Dodd Research Center, and we commit the University of Connecticut to a goal of introspection and ourselves to a way of life within which we protect the rights of all. At this moment, we acknowledge a man, United States Senator Thomas J. Dodd, and his legacy, and we dedicate a building in his honor and to his memory. For the next 12 months, the University of Connecticut, through the theme 50 Years After Nuremberg, Human Rights and the Rule of Law, will stimulate its collective conscience as well as that of the broader community it serves. And now for some introductions. Joining me are 5 individuals who the University of Connecticut is honored to have on campus today. 3 of them will speak as part of this dedication program, and I'll introduce them at that time. 2 others will be among those speaking later this afternoon at the Gamble Pavilion. Let me introduce these 2 persons to you. First, the Chairman of the University of Connecticut's Board of Trustees, Louis B. Rome. Lou? Next, he's not on stage here, but he is the senior senator from Connecticut, a son of nearby Norwich, an advocate on behalf of the University of Connecticut, and a person to whom we are all grateful for being a catalyst in constructing this center that we dedicate today, Senator Christopher J. Dodd. Chris? I would like to welcome as well other members of the Dodd family who have joined us during what Senator Chris Dodd has called a very proud time for the family. They are Mary Dwyer, maybe just put the hand up, Helen Farley, Carolyn Dodd, Martha Dodd Bonanno, Thomas Dodd, Jeremy Dodd, and Nick Dodd. Okay. With us today are members of the Advisory Committee established to provide guidance and counsel as we constructed the building and the year-long celebration concurrent with its dedication. They include the Honorable Oscar Arias, former President of Costa Rica, His Excellency the Ambassador of Chile, John Beale, His Excellency the Ambassador of the United Kingdom, Sir John Kerr, United States Senator Russell B. Long, Louisiana, and United States Senator Claiborne Pell of Rhode Island, former Governor of the State of Connecticut, William A. O'Neill, Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel, William F. Buckley, Jr., David Chase, Edward R. Down, Doris and Simon Conover, Mrs. Abraham Ribicoff, Rose Styron, and Dr. Raymond Sackler. Please give a hand to the advisory committee, if you will. We are also honored to have a number of U.S. senators who apparently made the trip. I had the pleasure to ride to the meeting with the President, so I didn't get a chance to see all who are here, but to those who are joining us, we say thank you, and we'll have an opportunity to introduce you later. We have honored also to have in attendance members of the Connecticut Congressional Delegation, the state's constitutional officers, and the legislative leadership of the General Assembly. You will meet them later during the Gamble program. It is always a pleasure to have the leadership of key state legislative committees visit us, and it is a further pleasure to have alumni members of the state legislature return to Storrs in this flagship state university. I would also like to recognize those who played a special role in the design and construction of the Dodd Research Center. Theodore J. Anson, the Commissioner of the State Department of Public Works, Larry Schilling, Executive Director of Facilities Management for the university, John G. Phelan, President of the architectural firm of Fletcher Thompson of Bridgeport, Charles R. Kluwen of C.R. Kluwen Incorporated of Norwich, which provided construction management, and James M. Eschert of Aspenet Construction Company of Avon, the general contractor. Please give a hand for the completion of the building on time. The Dodd Center is a triumph in that it signals a new day for the university's academic endeavors. It will provide a much-needed ingredient as we continue to enhance our academic capabilities. Representing those who have been advocates for the center are Mark A. Emmert, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Paul Kobelnicki, the Director of University Libraries, and Norman D. Stevens, Director of University Libraries Emeritus and Acting Director of the Dodd Center. Please give a hand for my staff. The Dodd family has given much to the state of Connecticut over the years. The father protected our rights. The family has given its support and counsel to a building which will preserve the documents that are part of our heritage. From a time more than 50 years ago in which some made decisions to destroy, we witness here today the result of a decision by others to build. Speaking for the Dodd family is the United States Ambassador to Uruguay, the Honorable Thomas J. Dodd. Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. President, Governor Rowland, former Governor Bill O'Neill, Dr. Hartley, President and former members of Congress, the sculptor, Norman McCuzzy, ladies and gentlemen of the University of Connecticut community. To begin my remarks, Mr. President, as your ambassador to the Republic of Uruguay in South America, I'm reminded that our lives are significantly intertwined. You are a graduate of Georgetown University Foreign Service School. I am too. And like my father, you both received your law degrees from Yale University. So your presence here is therefore not only appropriate for personal reasons, but for historical reasons as well. Your visit marks the first occasion that a sitting president of the United States has visited this university. So perhaps my seniority of age, I am qualified to speak in behalf of my 5 brothers and sisters and grandchildren, but not for my Aunt Mary and Aunt Helen Farley, who are here present, who are sisters of my father and mother, respectively. Our presence here as a family not only conveys the importance of this occasion, but also highlights the spirit and meaning of the center. To be sure, it is a brick and mortar added to a lovely landscape of this university. But we as a family, with all of you who contributed so generously of your time and money, must give this structure meaning and vitality. This center, a facility for my father's papers and for public servants like him, will be a constant reminder not only for the storage and preservation of documents, but also to convey their meaning in vivid fashion with exhibits, conferences, and seminars for years to come. So your endeavors today, Mr. President, to end genocide in the Balkans, bring peace to the Middle East and Northern Ireland, as well as consolidating democracy in Haiti, reflect the constant need, as the Nuremberg trial demonstrated 50 years ago, to preserve the creativity, vitality, and justice of humankind, not its cruelty and destructiveness. Therefore, this center which you dedicate today, Mr. President, is a testimony to a bond that ties generations, yours and my father's, with a belief in his words that enhancing knowledge is critical to nurturing and sustaining humanity. Scholars who will scrutinize papers here and people who view its exhibits must ultimately decide what my father exhorted his children and contemporaries to do. We must, he said, determine where we have erred and failed, and what we can do to avoid these mistakes. So let us give this center a repository of documents, a vibrancy where we will not forget either our cruel or noble past, but to learn and grow from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And sitting here, I identified some members of Congress that are sitting here in the first rows. If I may, could we give a welcome to those senators and congresswomen that are here? Please stand. Senator Hollings, Senator Pell, Senator Hollings, Representative DeRosa, and Congressman Gadenson. Thank you. Senator Lieberman, thank you. Let me turn now to gubernatorial recognitions. Mrs. Abraham Ribicoff joins us today, representing her husband, who was governor from 1955 to 1961. He also served as a state legislator, a United States congressman and senator, and as Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. Mrs. Ribicoff. Thank you, representing the family. The University of Connecticut has been fortunate over the years to have many good friends and supporters for the Dodd project and also for Gamble Pavilion, where we will be going at 3 o'clock. That friend at the state capitol was Governor William A. O'Neill. For his support, we are truly grateful, and we recognize him today, Governor O'Neill. Rebuilding and renewing the University of Connecticut has been our highest priority in recent months. Such rebuilding cannot come without a commitment from the state's leadership. Governor John G. Rowland has said that it is time for Connecticut state government to recognize the needs of its flagship university. With these words have come action and continued support, for which the University of Connecticut community is enormously grateful. It is my pleasure to introduce the 86th Governor of Connecticut, John G. Rowland.
Harry, thank you so very much. This is a great day for the Dodd family, but it's also a great day for the University of Connecticut and the state of Connecticut. Distinguished guests and friends, let me first welcome the President of the United States, President Clinton, to our great state. And Mr. President, you honor us with your presence today, and we are particularly proud to have you join us in the celebration of a great American life in a great American university. Now, with the perspective of almost a quarter century since Senator Thomas Dodd passed away, we can reflect on a life well lived. We can reflect on his service to the state, service to the nation, and indeed to mankind. We can witness his legacy, continuing to fulfill its promise through the public service careers of Senator Chris Dodd and Ambassador Tom Dodd. Tom Dodd was a generation that defeated the Nazis, but then subordinated the passage for revenge to a passion of justice. Today I come before you as a new leader from a different generation. Many of you knew Tom Dodd as a man. I know him as a towering figure in American political history. Senator Dodd's papers will be at the heart of a collection which will allow scholars to accurately reconstruct critical junctures in our history. This archive is a means of allowing ourselves and our children to learn the lessons of our collective past to better prepare us for the future. In reviewing the history of Senator Dodd the Elder, sounds a little bit like Roman history, Chris, I am struck more by the actual man than just by the remarkable resume. He fought not only Nazism, but he then fought the desire to execute the Nazi leaders with no attention to due process. He was part of Justice Jackson's first-rate team, seeing that the judgment at Nuremberg was just, that the trial symbolized everything that the Nazis denied to their victims. Imagine the challenge to do justice to barbarians. Imagine the powerful passions restrained by law. These archives are a tribute to those who pursued justice for the unjust and built a foundation of international law that will serve generations yet unborn. Tom Dodd was a great senator. He was a vigorous advocate for a strong America, which served as a bulwark of liberty at a time when freedom was severely challenged. He was a pillar in the bipartisan coalition that established America's greatness in the decades after the Second World War. He knew politics, and he was a great politician. But he was a great politician because he loved his country more than his party, service more than self. Many knew Tom Dodd as a mentor, and it's through this archive that Tom Dodd and other Connecticut leaders will be mentors to future generations. His contributions and his passion for service made him a special mentor to all of us here today. It is fitting that at this great university, the University of Connecticut, we will celebrate Tom Dodd's life by developing a foundation for learning for future generations here in Connecticut. President Hartley, Chairman of the Board Lou Rome, and the entire University of Connecticut community can be proud of this great research archive, honoring a distinguished son of Connecticut. And it is fitting that this academic center is located in the heart of a great university that excels in scholarship and athletic competition. And, most importantly, it serves the state that Tom Dodd loves so well. Thank you all for being here, and welcome.
Thank you, Governor. The American presidency is a complex yet simple political institution. It functions in a union of three separate branches. It is checked and balanced. It must often look elsewhere for advice and consent. Yet there is simplicity in the source of its authority and its power. We, the people of Connecticut, and all the people of this great nation, from those who founded it to those who are preparing for its future, are the grassroots from which the presidency of the United States grows and is sustained. The most effective of our presidents have been those who understood and appreciated the origins, strengths, and limitations of the institution with which they have been entrusted. President Clinton, since his election 3 years ago, has clearly demonstrated an understanding of his role as our leader. We at the University of Connecticut applaud his understanding and support for American higher education, and especially his recognition of the role of the land-grant university as it seeks to better the lives of all Americans. In the context of our year of introspection on human rights and the rule of law upon which we embark today, President Clinton, we further commend you for placing human rights high on the presidential agenda. On a personal note, on June 2nd of this year, you invited members of the university community to the White House to honor our 1995 NCAA champion women's basketball team. Go ahead. We enjoyed your warmth and your hospitality, and today we welcome you to our campus. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Bill Clinton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President Hartley, Governor Rowland, Senator Lieberman, members of Congress, and the distinguished United States senators and former senators who have come today, Chairman Rome, members of the Diplomatic Corps, to all of you who have done anything to make this great day come to pass, to my friend and former colleague, Governor O'Neill, and most of all to Senator Dodd, Ambassador Dodd, and the Dodd family. I am delighted to be here. I have so many thoughts now. I can't help mentioning one that, since President Hartley mentioned the day we had your magnificent women's basketball team there, we also had the UCLA men's team there. You may not remember who UCLA defeated for the national championship, but I do remember that UConn defeated the University of Tennessee, and that made my life with Al Gore much more bearable. So I was doubly pleased when UConn won the national championship. I also did not know until it was stated here at the outset of this ceremony that no sitting president had the privilege of coming to the University of Connecticut before, but they don't know what they missed. I'm glad to be the first, and I know I won't be the last. I also want to pay a special public tribute to the Dodd family for their work on this enterprise and for their devotion to each other and the memory of Senator Thomas Dodd. If, as so many of us believe, this country rests in the end upon its devotion to freedom and liberty and democracy, and upon the strength of its families, you could hardly find a better example than the Dodd family, not only for their devotion to liberty and democracy, but also for their devotion to family and to the memory of Senator Tom Dodd. It has deeply moved all of us, and we thank you for your example. Tom Dodd spent his life serving America. He demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to the rule of law, beginning with his early days as an FBI agent and federal attorney. He was equally passionate in his opposition to tyranny in all its forms. He fought the tyranny of racism, prosecuting civil rights cases in the South in the 1930s, long before it was popular anywhere in the United States, and helping to shepherd the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 into law. He fought the tyranny of communism throughout his years in elected office, and while he bowed to none in his devotion to freedom, he also stood bravely against those who wrapped themselves in the flag and turned anti-communism into demagoguery. Tom Dodd was in so many ways a man ahead of his time. He was passionate about civil rights 3 decades before the civil rights movement changed the face of our nation. In the Senate, he pioneered programs to fight delinquency, and to give the young people of our country a chance at a good education and a good job, then that is a task, my fellow Americans, we have not yet finished doing. He saw the dangers of guns and drugs on our streets, and he acted to do something about that. Had we done it in his time, we would not have so much work to do in this time. Tom Dodd's passion for justice and his hatred of oppression came together, as all of you know, most powerfully when he served as America's executive trial counsel at the Nuremberg War Tribunal. It was the pivotal event of his life. He helped to bring justice to bear against those responsible for the Holocaust, for the acts that redefined our understanding of man's capacity for evil. Through that path-breaking work, he and his fellow jurists pushed one step forward, the historic effort to bring the crimes of war under the sanction of law. Senator Dodd left many good works and reminders of his achievement. Some bear his name: the children who have followed in his steps and served the public, who carry forward his ardent support for an American foreign policy that stands for democracy and freedom, who maintain his commitment to social justice, to strong communities and strong families. They have also upheld their father's tradition of loyalty, and as one of the chief beneficiaries of that lesson, let me say that I am grateful for it, and again grateful for its expression in this remarkable project, which will help the people of Connecticut and the United States to understand their history. I am delighted that this center will bear the Dodd name, because it is fitting that a library, a place that keeps and honors books and records, will honor Tom Dodd's service, his passion for justice, and his hatred of tyranny. Where books are preserved, studied, and revered, human beings will also be treated with respect and dignity, and liberty will be strengthened. Dedicating this research center today, we remember that when the Nazis came to power, one of the very first things they did was burn books they deemed subversive. The road to tyranny, we must never forget, begins with the destruction of the truth. In the darkest days of the war, President Roosevelt, with those awful bonfires fresh in his memory, reflected upon how the free pursuit of knowledge protects our liberty. And he put it well when he called books the weapons for man's freedom. I am glad that Tom Dodd will be remembered here, in this place, in this building, with this center, in the state he loved, with the very best arsenal for the freedom he fought to defend his entire life. Thank you very much.